beautiful demonstration of fraternity and force. The second indicator is that there's increased bilateral trade and investments. As you probably followed that on the 26th of April this year, it was reported that Nigeria had formally, officially become Cameroon's first trading partner. World Bank sources indicate that Nigeria supplies 38% of Cameroon's imports. That is 16% more than France. In the area of investments, Nigerian mogul and Africa's richest man, Alhaji Aliko Dangote, is currently building one of the largest cement industries in Cameroon, a project that is aimed at supplying not necessarily the local market of 20 million, but the sub-regional market. And you know, there are over 4 million, probably over 5 million Nigerians living and doing business in Cameroon, and they are spreading in all the domains, including banking, insurance, and even energy. Since I came to Canada, my first trip back to Cameroon, I noticed there was a transformation in the petroleum distribution chain. All the multinationals, Total, Shell, BP, they are virtually gone, and there are new local initiatives. And I noticed that the biggest ones are Nigerian. Yeah. Now, there is a third indicator of the changes that are taking place in between our two countries, is that there is a consolidated framework for a strategic partnership. Nigeria and Cameroon have not only revived and revamped their joint commission to monitor trade, cooperation, and everything, but they are moving on to put in place sectoral agreements in various domains, including transborder security, hydrocarbon production, electricity interconnectivity. And you know, Cameroon is in a unique position to supply some of Nigeria's vital needs. There are some of the vital needs of Nigeria's surging economy, which is growing at over 7%. Cameroon has the highest, is the second highest hydro potential in Africa after the DRC, the Democratic Republic of Congo. And you may know that the Nigerian government, because of its need for energy, is even considering importing energy from the Inga Dam that is being in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Is projecting that. But Cameroon is just right next door, and there are numerous potentials and opportunities there. Now, a fourth indicator I want to talk about is the emerging corridor linking the two sub-regional economic blocks of ECOWAS and Central African countries. You know, the Enugu-Bamenda road I've just mentioned is a 443-kilometer road, 203 in Cameroon, 240 in Nigeria. It's going to link not just Nigeria and Cameroon. In effect, that is the first concrete visible link between the Economic Community of West Africa, ECOWAS, and the Economic Community of Central Africa. And this is a vast market of close to 350 million people by 2020, according to World Bank estimates. So, this highway, as you know, is part of the Trans-African Highway meant to link Lagos in Nigeria to Mombasa in Kenya. Yeah. So it is increasingly coming into place. Now, all of this give, all of what I've been describing, you see, it follows from this architecture of change taking place in the sub-region, that there are vast opportunities for both countries. Vast opportunities for Cameroon and Nigeria, called upon to play a very vital role in the unity of Africa. You know, they are at the gateway to two regions meeting. They are the fluidity and rapidity and the volume of exchanges that will cross in between these two countries. You simply cannot imagine. And I think that's going to, and it provides vast opportunities for partnerships, of public-private partnerships towards shared progress and prosperity. Now, let's talk a bit about the diaspora role and strategies. There is no doubt that the African diaspora is making contributions, remarkable contributions to the development of the continent. And I want to greet you, I want to salute you all. Please give yourselves a hand for what you are doing. I know in your individual countries. You do that through remittances, through philanthropy. You could already see from what my brother said, they are already, even the next generation, the younger generation is already moving very fast. You do that through direct investments in Nigeria, direct diaspora direct investments. You do that through international business partnerships. You do it through advocacy and diplomacy. And you do that through knowledge transfers as well as other cultural exchange initiatives. We appreciate that. I think no African government can be insensitive to that. We thank you for that. And I think more and more national governments are recognizing the role of the diaspora, the role that key elements, not perhaps everybody, but key elements of the diaspora can play in the development process. And they are introducing new diaspora strategies. Canada, as you know, continues to attract the world's brightest and best through an immigration policy that seeks to address the negative consequences of its declining demographics. Through this policy, the African diaspora will continue to grow in numbers. But I know the real challenge is for this diaspora to grow in influence here in Canada. 2 years ago, I don't know whether you're aware of this too, on May 17 to 19, 2011, the U.S. State Department launched the first annual Global Diaspora Forum with the following 3 objectives: to recognize and celebrate the positive contributions of diaspora communities in bridging understanding and fostering friendship between Americans and their countries of origin or ancestry, because you already have second generation Africans here who are born here and for whom Africa is rather a country of ancestry, not necessarily origin, right? To encourage diaspora-centric public-private partnerships promoting diplomacy and development, to cultivate learning and knowledge sharing between and among diaspora communities. Now, while this event might have passed without striking much of a chord in many African countries, the conclusions of the forum were clear in recognizing that diasporas offer great platforms for increasing the influence of countries abroad and for developing support from their successful expatriates. It was also noted that the potential for these flows of influence, information, and income are staggering. Of particular significance was the emphasis placed on networking. Now, this is what Professor Anne-Marie Slaughter of the State Department had to say about networking. And I halt a bit because you are a network. We live in a networked world. War is networked. You saw that, you've been seeing it recently in the Middle East, right? In Syria and Libya. Diplomacy is networked. Business. Did you hear Mrs. Amoye? Business is networked. Media is network. Society is network. Isaac? Even religion is networked. In this world, the measure of power is connectedness. Connectedness. You need to be connected. I'm quoting this partly in tribute to you, the Nigerian Professionals and Business Network, whose objectives are captured in your own very motto: network, learn, excel. I just urge you to remember to network beyond yourselves. You will be more successful as you reach out to other individuals, institutions, and influence spheres in Canada and beyond. You can always succeed in solitude or in solidarity with others through partnerships. However, success in solidarity is always sweeter than success in solitude, I'm told. More significantly, however, is the third possibility given to you to become citizens of this powerful country, Canada. There is almost no measure to the influence and impact you can make by tapping on the institutional power of this nation through integration and involvement in its political and sociocultural systems. I think Isaac put it better, simply but in memorable words. Are you taking part in the councils, in the city councils? Are you involved in the parliamentary process? Are you with the developers? Are you an institutional leader? Are you inside the financial system? Thank you very much. You couldn't have said that. I'm merely repeating what the two of them said. So this is about succeeding and finding significance in your professions and businesses here in Canada, that you may be able to influence policy choices like Canadian leaders from other diaspora groups. Don't you know of Canadian ministers, leaders in the public sector, in business, in civil society, who are from other diaspora areas? Don't you see the amount of influence they wear and how they can then decide which country in Africa government will go to and which place, how much investment will go here or there? You see that? I was fully impressed to notice that the British High Commissioner in Yaoundé is of Indian origin, but he's the British High Commissioner, right? Okay. So, it is also about capturing the territory on which you stand, from which you may then more easily launch further conquests afield, conquest further afield. I say this because some members of the diaspora, from my experience, little experience, I wouldn't know more than you. Please avoid the proverbial sheep syndrome. That sheep that died of hunger standing between two bales of hay. Because each time it made up his mind, I want to go and eat this, he turns and sees this one looks greener. He turns and then he casts a look and says, no, that is better. Okay, now, are you here in Canada or you are in Africa? Those are some of the tricky things that those are some of the traps that can have, those are some of the inhibitions that can, on your way to progress and prosperity. So, capture the territory and you will be empowered to do so. It is about being a good and great Canadian. For then, you'll also be perceived as a good and great African. I think you can do that. I know of a powerful, perhaps Canada's second powerful consortium in construction. This is American Nation Construction. CIMA in Montreal. It's founded by a Polish immigrant, but on a model that tries to pick the brightest and best from all over. Not just the Polish community. They have Africans who are vice president. And because of that, they are capturing the businesses all over Africa. You see that? So as African Canadians, you can become flagships for the Canadian brand. Because one of the things that unites you and your other African brothers and sisters who are non-Nigerian is that is your nationality as Canadians. It is your knowledge and skills. It is your common quest for success that brought you here. It is perhaps also your global experience, because very rarely can you be here without having moved across a third country. So there is this community somewhere there which you need to tap. Go beyond yourselves. I'm not saying you should abolish the NPBN, no. But also, while growing this, also look, let all the engineers of Africa try to select the best engineers and put together maybe a consortium of architects, of consultants. I went through your website and I listened to another powerful lady talking about industrial parks in Nigeria and how members of the diaspora want to contribute, but they don't know how to. But you could be doing that. Africa is in need of this. You can produce templates that you sell to African governments for industrial and commercial parks, for science and technology parks that we see dotted all over this country. Think beyond borders, not necessarily political borders. There are so many types of borders. But think beyond borders. Opportunities run across borders. And the language of influence and affluence knows no borders. Dangote wouldn't be conquering Cameroon, which is predominantly French-speaking, and holding his own. And he's in many, many other countries in the world. 2, think beyond the ordinary. People are generally not satisfied with the ordinary. I am not very comfortable with that thing we say, our African way of doing it. I'm not very comfortable with that. There is a yearning out there for the extraordinary. Yes. That is why innovation and excellence will continue to drive progress and prosperity. Now, think beyond the self. Leaders and executives who succeed the most are those who look beyond self-interest and profit to provide genuine solutions to the needs of society. I was very heartened again to listen to that. Successful people are always looking for opportunities to help others. Unsuccessful people are always asking, what's in it for me? What's in it for me? If I can't get it, I kill it. Yeah. Finally, think beyond success. That may be paradoxical, but I think many people who have scaled the peak of success have reportedly pointed to yet another peak, the higher peak of significance. Success comes when we add value to self, to our own lives. But significance comes when we add value to the lives of others. Jim Rohn observes, whoever renders service to many puts himself in line for greatness, great wealth, great return, great satisfaction, great reputation, and great joy. Are those just lofty platitudes? I am thankful that my brother Isaac and Mrs. Omoyi gave more concrete a demonstration to these few ideas. And I thank you very much for the attention.